one of the greatest features of the Old Wild West. The frontier, as much a state of mind as a geographic location, the edge of civilization, in some way the point of no return. It took a special kind of person, brave, displaced, and desperate, to leave their safe, predictable starting point and head into the unknown. In the case of the American Wild West, the frontier was somewhere between the east and west coast, uncharted wilderness, a place where Indians, weather, and wild animals were a real risk, not to mention the outlaws and unsavory types that would take advantage of the weak. Today, we will take a look at just some movies that depicted the Old West frontier. Not all, just some. Let me know in the comments what you would add. If you enjoy this video, hit the subscription button to get my new videos. To check out my many other videos, head to my channel. The link is in the description. Let's get into it. The Gold Rush, 1925. Director Charles Chaplin. A silent comedy, written, produced, and directed by Charlie Chaplin. Also stars Chaplin in his Little Tramp persona, with Georgia Hale, Max Swain, Tom Murray, Henry Bergman, and Malcolm Waite. Chaplin drew inspiration from photographs of the Klondike Gold Rush, as well as from the story of the Donner Party, who, when snowbound in the Sierra Nevada, were driven to cannibalism or eating leather from their shoes. Chaplin, who believed tragedies and comedies were not far from each other, decided to combine these stories of deprivation and horror in comedy. Lita Grey, whom Chaplin married in November 1924, was originally cast as the leading lady, but due to her pregnancy was replaced by Georgia Hale. Grey appeared in the film as an extra. The Wind, 1928. Director Victor Strostrom. A romantic drama. While the film has no audible dialogue, it was released with a synchronized music score, with sound effects using both the sound on disc and sound on film process. Adapted by Francis Marion from the 1925 novel of the same name, written by Dorothy Scarborough, featuring Lillian Gish, Lars Hansen, and Montague Love. It is one of the last silent films released by Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer and is considered to be among the greatest silent films. Gish recalled wanting Lars Hansen as her leading man after seeing him in a Swedish film with Greta Garbo. She also assigned Victor Strostrom as the director herself. The Big Trail, 1930. Director Raoul Walsh. An epic pre-code western shot on location across the American West, starring 23-year-old John Wayne in his first leading role. It is the final completed film to feature Tyrone Power Sr. before his death in 1931, as well as his only sound role. The scene of the wagon train drive across the country was pioneering in its use of camera work and the depth of view of the epic landscape. An effort was made to lend authenticity to the movie, with the wagons drawn by oxen instead of horses, lowered by ropes down canyons when necessary for certain shots in narrow valleys.
Job I've got to finish.
Don't you see? It doesn't matter about them. I'm afraid for you. They'll kill you.
Wagon Master, 1950. Director John Ford. A western starring Ben Johnson, Harry Carey Jr., Joanne Drew, and Ward Bond. The story follows a Mormon pioneer wagon train across treacherous desert to the San Juan River in Utah. While the critical and audience response to Wagon Master was lukewarm on its release, over the years, numerous critics have come to view it as one of Ford's masterpieces. The idea for Wagon Master emerged when Ford was directing She Wore a Yellow Ribbon on location in southern Utah. Patrick Ford, a screenwriter and Ford's son, studied the history of the Mormon Hole in the Rock expedition, 1879 to 1880, from some local Mormon horsemen. Ford developed a story loosely based on the historical expedition.
Putting it that way. All right.
Back to your wagons, folks.
Westwood The Women, 1951. Director, William A. Wellman. A western starring Robert Taylor, Denise Darcell, and John McIntyre. Frank Capra, who receives a story credit, originally intended to do this film himself. He'd always wanted to make a western, hopefully with Gary Cooper, but Paramount wasn't interested. He mentioned the idea to Wellman, who asked if he could take a stab at it. Capra gave him his blessing, and Wellman pitched it to MGM, who gave him the go-ahead and liked the concept so much that he produced it himself.
She's not dead. Nothing's happened to her that didn't happen to her before. All I did was rough her up a little.
You remember what I told you I was going to do.
Stand on! Down on! You see what you started?
It wasn't her fault. It could have happened.
What do you mean it wasn't her fault? Who fired that gun? Roy was out of his mind to sign you on, you and your partner. From now on, Dan, on, stick close to your wagon. Don't move away from it. Where do you think you were going?
I didn't care.
Well, let's get back.
But you did.
Did what?
Came after me.
The Big Sky, 1952. Director, Howard Hawks. A western based on the novel of the same name by A.B. Guthrie Jr. The film does not have the same tragic ending as the book. The cast includes Kirk Douglas, Dewey Martin, Elizabeth Threet, and Arthur Honeycutt, who was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. In 1832, Jim Deakins, Kirk Douglas, travelling in the Kentucky wilderness, encounters a hostile Boone Cordial, Dewey Martin. However, they soon become friends and head together to St. Louis on the Missouri River in search of Boone's uncle, Zeb Calloway, Arthur Honeycutt. They find him when they are thrown in jail for fighting with fur traders. When Frenchie, Jourdain, Stephen Guéret, comes to bail Zeb out, Zeb talks him into paying for Jim and Boone too. Mccab and Mrs Miller, 1971. Director, Robert Altman. A revisionist western starring Warren Beatty and Julie Christie. The screenplay by Altman and Brian McKay is based on the 1959 novel Mccab by Edmund Norton. Altman called it an anti-western, as it ignores or subverts a number of western traditional conventions. Filmed in British Columbia, Canada, in the fall and winter of 1970. Altman offered the lead role to Elliot Gould, who turned it down to make I Love My Wife. Bob said, "You're making the mistake of your life," said Gould. "There was a part of me that was not developed at all, and that had no real understanding about what the woman is." Bob wanted to cast Patricia Quinn as Mrs. Miller, and I hadn't seen Alice's Restaurant, and I hadn't met her. I had some misconceptions because I wanted her to have the same relationship with Altman as I had. I recently watched Alice's Restaurant, and she's great. Altman was so right. Buck and the Preacher, 1972. Directors, Sidney Poitier, Joseph Sargent. A western written by Ernest Kimoy and directed by Sidney Poitier. Poitier also stars in the film alongside Harry Belafonte and Ruby Dee. The first film Sidney Poitier directed, Vincent Canby of the New York Times said Poitier showed a talent for easy, unguarded, rambunctious humour missing from his more stately movies. This film broke Western traditions by casting black actors as central characters and portraying both tension and solidarity between African Americans and Native Americans.
Of the high and low order of the Holiness Persuasion Church. Will you get him out of my house? I got my reputation to think of. Humbug. I put my faith in the good book.
The New Land, 1972, director Jan Troell. A Swedish film starring Max von Sydow, Liv Ullmann, Eddie Axberg, Alan Edwall, Monica Zetterlund, and Pierre Lindstedt. It and its 1971 predecessor, The Emigrants, which were produced concurrently, are based on Vilhelm Moberg's The Immigrants, a series of 4 novels about poor Swedes who immigrate from Småland, Sweden, in the mid-19th century and make their home in Minnesota. The cast members spent days in the fields to portray farming, particularly for The New Land. Ullmann said that after 3 days of this, she began to feel exhausted.
Ta mig satan ska du inte tigga, jag ska täppa till längdtrötten på dig.
Ta det. Det gäller lika för guld. Jag tog ut lite lommapengar från banken.
Meeks Cut Off, 2010. Director Kelly Reichardt. A small group of settlers traveling across the Oregon high desert in 1845 suspect that their guide, Stephen Meek, may not know the area well enough to plot a safe and certain route, a journey that was supposed to take 2 weeks via what became known as Meeks Cut Off, stretches into 5. With no clear sense of where they are going, tensions rise as water and food run low. The wives look on, unable to participate in the decision-making as their husbands discuss how long they should continue to follow Meek.
I blame him for saying he did.
We made our decision. This is only a bad dream soon. It's going to be a story to tell.
He's a quick one.
He knows where the water is.
I've seen him strip the flesh clean off a man while he's still breathing.
You people got no idea what you are dealing with here.
To someone, it means something. Open your eyes. God knows where he's taking us.
Is he ignorant or is he just plain evil?
Who knows what's over that hill? Could be water. Could be an army of heathens.
If you like this video, make sure you hit the subscription button so you will see all my new videos as they come up. Take a look at my channel to see my many other videos. The link is in the description. Leave me a comment. Check out my Facebook page as well. I appreciate your likes and subscribers. I am Wrangler. Adios. See you again soon.
Interesting facts about famous people.